Well, now we have the lady who must be the most admired and beloved ballerina of our time. She has the honour of being a Dame Commander of the British Empire. Not bad for the girl who started out at 14 years of age as the third snowflake on the left in Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. So I'm sure you'll give a very big welcome for Dame Margot Fonteyn. Margot, were you delighted to hear somebody like Danny Baker, who's totally committed to the ballet after one performance?
Absolutely delighted, and of all people, I wish he had seen Anna Pavlova, the great Anna Pavlova that we're talking about.
Yes, because in fact we're going to see some lovely photographs of her in a second. I mean, you have presented...
He would have loved her, I'm sure, because she created magic in an extraordinary way, and I'm sure is the greatest dancer who ever existed, and I just feel that that is exactly what he would have would have bowled him over.
You have presented this quite beautiful book of Pavlova, but I mean, what was it really that made her just quite so special?
I don't think one ever knows what is the special magic. That's what the word magic means. It's something that nobody knows what it is. You can't define it, you can't hold it. She had some quality. She was totally dedicated all her life, and more as she went on, to giving beauty to the world. She felt this was her mission. She gave up any ideas of having any other kind of life. It became very hard for her. She was touring the world, these endless long journeys. She had her own company, so she had no freedom really, because she had to maintain her own company. She often had financial difficulties. They would perhaps be stranded somewhere. The company would run out of money. They would have to wait and keep them together. The dancers would have to go on sort of minimal, basic sustenance until they could get more engagements. They had many difficulties and hardships, and really nobody to help them, no government support, no support of any kind, just these dancers led by this one wonderful, extraordinary artist.
Did you see her dance?
Well, I did, but alas, I was about 6 years old, and I cannot truthfully say, because I tend to try to be truthful, I cannot say this inspired me. The only thing I ever wanted to do was to dance again, because unfortunately I had about 5 dancing lessons, and the way little girls of 5 are, when after 5 lessons they think they can do it all just as well as anybody else, and I thought, well, I can do that.
So at that stage then, did you anticipate or just hope that you might one day be as great a dancer as she?
No, I didn't think about it at all. I never thought about being a great dancer, and when I became a little older and aware of what Pavlova was and the qualities that she had, I could see that I had absolutely no hope whatever. I did not have a long neck, I did not have a beautifully arched instep, I did not have a high forehead, and I didn't have all these things that Pavlova had, so I really was not optimistic at all.
Actually, a lot of people say that Pavlova was too thin.
Well, at that time, dancers tended to be well padded, you might say. And that was admired. Then they usually had thick calf muscles, because the training at that time exaggerated the calf muscles. And she was the first, almost, to have very slim, elegant legs. And again, she thought that this was exceedingly important, that a dancer must at all times on the stage and off the stage must show beauty, that the art of dancing was beauty, and that this was something that she must give to the world. And she travelled everywhere. She danced in church halls. She would dance anywhere for anybody, because it became more and more a mission for her, and almost pushed everything else out of her life.
You see, I imagine from the outside that it must be just sheer grit, determination and very hard work to succeed as a ballet dancer.
Well, I think it's hard work, but a lot of things are hard work, and you only do that if you want to do that particular thing. In this case, an art. You want to dance, so you do whatever work you have to do to be able to dance. But I think the grit and determination, especially in the way that Pavlova had to overcome so many difficulties that we don't have now, I think she did have enormous grit, really, to do it.
Actually, you've obviously had enormous grit yourself, and you had this wonderful, wonderful dancing relationship and exciting partnership with Nureyev for 10 years. Now, when you first started to dance together, there was a big age difference. I mean, were you particularly bothered about that at that stage?
I didn't really want to dance with him. I had had a very successful partnership with Michael Soames. We're about the same age. First, before that, with Robert Helpman, who's older than me, a little older. And I didn't want to start dancing with somebody who was so much younger than me. But then I accepted, because I thought, well, in life you have to take your courage with you. You can't just avoid things that you think are frightening. You have to go out and do it. You must. So I went out and danced with this boy who was 19 or 20 years younger than me and leapt 10 foot high, and the minute he came on the stage, everybody was going to watch him. And I thought, who is going to look at me when this boy is leaping about like this all over the place? And anyway, I took my courage and I went out on the stage with this phenomenon, and somehow or other it worked.
But really, did you spot the genius in him straight off?
Well, I don't know exactly how you spot the genius. I don't have a yardstick for it. There was, before I met him, I was trying to locate him to invite him to a charity gala, and a famous Russian dancing teacher was in Copenhagen, and he was there working in her class. And I knew her very well, so I said, Vera, what about Nureyev? What is he like? And she said, well, you know, he is very good, you know. I think he has the genius. He has the nostrils. And I said, the what? And she said, you know, he has the nostrils. So when I did meet him, I looked very closely, and I sort of saw what she meant. He has. And you think, now, yes, I see why she thinks that he must
we'll
have
all be
genius.
watching the next time.
Yes, it's very curious. I think she was right.
But he really brought a power and strength too. I mean, he kind of changed the role of the male dancer, if you like, didn't he?
I think that he brought young people to see ballet, and to see classical ballet, which at that time, it came in the 60s. Now, that was not a time when young people would normally think of going to see a classical ballet like Swan Lake. And I think Nureyev did an enormous amount, because he had like a James Dean image somehow. Mm-hmm. And he brought this into a world which those people would never have thought of going to.
Well, may I just say...
Like Danny wouldn't have gone.
Well, I think Danny's going to be back anyway. I was just going to say that it's been lovely to have you on the programme, because I know you don't come to London all that much, but is there anything in particular you miss about not living here now?
Well, I love London and I like coming back, but I have a very happy new life, which everybody thinks extraordinary. I live on a farm, and
it's in Panama.
In Panama with my husband, and it's very, it's primitive but not totally uncivilized, but it's primitive in that we have no telephone. And people think that's extraordinary, and I never take any exercise at all, which some people think extraordinary, though why would I want to take exercise if I'm not going to dance? And I'm very, very happy there.
Well, you look wonderful, and I'd like to thank you very much for coming on. Dame Margot Fonteyn.
Thank you.